In the meeting room of clandestine location, a man in a suit standing over a table laden with papers and files to speak. Sat around the table were several people, including a woman in red. Let's get it over with just to be sure. Here's what we know. Mansion facility was destroyed and all records erased. Backup copy of Umbrella's files retrieved by Agent Wesker and Red Queen's security system disabled and shut down by Agent Wesker. Umbrella's network security is invulnerable. Researcher John moved to the main lab in the nest. Agent Wong to infiltrate and acquire any and all samples of Umbrella, a new bioweapon program. Agent Wong must maintain cover as long as possible before entering Nest. Agent Wong has orders to infiltrate the RPD and use their disguise as acquire intent on surviving STARS members. If an opportunity arises, terminate Chief Iron's employment, as he has served his purpose. Agent Wong has orders to destroy Nest and eliminate it all with witness. Upon verification acquired samples, evac chopper will be sent to retrieve Agent Wong. Due to the sensitivity of this mission and its likelihood of failure, our deep cover agent, codename Hunk, will lead Umbrella's USS Delta Squad to Nest, back up and acquire secondary samples. Have I made myself clear? Those around the table voiced their obnoxious approval of the plan of going forward. The suited man sat down, and the others stood up. This man wore a similar suit, but it had a turtleneck sweater instead of a shirt and tie. His slick blonde hair and sunglasses, even while indoors, were distinctive. Beside his car was a young brunette girl, her eyes covered in a turtleneck sweater instead of a shirt and tie. In wrapping bandages, she wore a dark green hoodie over her jacket, over a school uniform buttoned up. A black skirt had stopped at her knees and wore black anklet socks with brown loafers. Agent Wong, I will be your handler for this assignment, as much as you will follow my orders when I give them, and now how I give them. I expect you to follow them by the letter, the blond man stated firmly. Of course, Wesker. Isn't that why you hired me? Because I follow orders and always get the job done, the woman in red replies sturdily. Having an air of elegance to her words, the blond man glared at her. I expect you to treat the mission more seriously than you treat your briefings. And for your sake, I hope your aim is as sharp as your tongue. We're sending you to hell to earth, he flatly replied. I believe my track records proves my usefulness, and I think I've earned the right to be a little smug. She then batted her eyelashes at him. He rolled his eyes in behind his glasses. Please be careful, Miss Wong, and if you see anyone named Clara Leon, please let me know if they're alive, that they're family to me. The young girl spoke in a timid voice, earning a gentle rub on the back from the blond male. The suited man cleared his throat loudly. Agent Wong's orders are no witnesses, regardless of whom she meets. If you care so much for your friends, then pray they don't cross her, and she will follow orders. Right, Miss Wong? That earned a wince from the girl, which caused the man beside her to grip her shoulder for a bit in comfort. Don't patronize me. I know what I have to do. Consider yourself lucky you have pawns doing your dirty work. You may have the opening move in this chess game, but you don't know the players, the woman in red shot back. You have your orders, Wong. Remember who gave you this opportunity. Without us, you'd be nothing. The suited man darker stated, and grinning evilly at her from his shadowed chair. She couldn't see his eyes, but she saw that grin. I'll do my part. I expect you to do yours. With that, she got up and left the room, with the others in the boardroom following suit, only leaving the girl and her guardian. The young girl looked up, and the blond male hugged his waist and turned. He rested a hand on her back. I just hope that they're okay, she whimpered. Sure, they're tough, but I'm sure they can handle whatever raccoon throws at them, Mr. Kennedy. Certainly I have never seen a recruit rise to the top of the police academy as fast as they did. Wesker replied softly, rubbing his shoulder comfortingly. And that man, I don't like him. He's our way off, Rhea said as she smells the deceit and blood. The administrator, I confessed. I don't like him as much either. I sense bad intentions for this company's path and in the future, and I will have to do something about him. For now I must bide my time and await for the opportunity. Wesker gritted his teeth and balled his hands into fists. Men like Administrator disgusted him. Men like Spencer. Meanwhile, now aboard the black chopper, headed for the city, Agent Wong, codenamed Ida, ran what the administrator said in her head. She knew that he didn't trust her, despite the stellar record. Perhaps he suspected her true motives for joining HCF, but there was no consequence now. She was about to be airdropped into the thick of it, and she didn't have to survive this mission. However, whatever the administrator had planned wouldn't matter anyway. 15 minutes later, she fast rope descended into the streets in the city limits. In the walking from there were too much danger to be discovered by drop directly into the city. Walk? To hell with that. She'd find a vehicle to hijack after all. Her new identity as an FBI agent Wong gave her the power to seize a vehicle without a reason. 5 minutes later, she was cruising towards hell. HQ, this is Ida. I have successfully entered the city undetected. Not that it was hard. This place is derelict. The outskirts look like a war zone. Wesker's slightly gruff voice exited her radio. Excellent. You have made good progress so far. We're ahead of time. Keep it up. Your first objective is to reach the police station. One of our operatives, Ben Bertroi, will be imprisoned by Irons for slandering him and attempting to reveal his association with Umbrella. His last report claimed he had vital information of our plans. Locate him and acquire the data. If he has been burnt, dispose of him. Please be careful, Miss Ida. We don't know if Umbrella's got people there to shove up the survivors. Keep your eyes out for them, came Alana's voice. Your secondary objective is to acquire whatever data on the surviving STARS members. Reports indicate that at least one of them is still in the city. If possible, attempt to locate them, but do not make contact. We want to check their movements, Wesker said. It's gotta be Mama Jill. She said that she would stay in the city to help getting those innocents out of there. If you see her, please let me know, Alana chimed in. If those are your current orders, when you have completed these objectives, I will update you on your next objectives. Avoid contact with the police if possible. Not everyone will fall for your disguise. And be careful, Miss Ida. Remember that you can't have someone rely on you to come back safe. Good luck, Ida. And if you see any Umbrella people in there, don't let them see you. If you have to fight back, just please don't die, Alana finished. The radio went quiet as Wesker kept the connection. Great, stiffed again. Why do I always get the crappy jobs? She moaned, rolling her eyes. I'll be a good little girl for now. The administrator is not the one to trust me. I don't always play by his rules. What Ida didn't know was that before she left, Alana had linked her mind to her sight of her own and Wesker so they could see what was going on. Despite being far away right now, Alana would be sitting in the middle of the office in a meditative position, hands resting on her knees and her eyes closed. Her body would be dimly glowing due to pure white, her hair flowing around her as if underwater. Rhea, of course, was assisting, as the advanced magic what she was doing. Something like that someone like her would not be doing it alone. Okay, it's working. I can now see where she is now. She's coming out to the gas station, and there's been sights of a fight here. Alana described it to Wesker. There's gunshot castings on the ground, and oh no, zombies, she suddenly gasped. Phew, that doesn't surprise me. Umbrella was always sloppy with their security procedures. Those bastards in research never slept, even on days off. We know this mission wouldn't be a cakewalk. Wesker pinched the bridge of his nose. We knew it would get out, but not this fast. It's only been a short time. Alana shook her head. her hands gripping her knees a bit with the rising anxiety, her powers slightly making some things on the table rattle a bit. Suspect rats infected with the virus traveled through the mansion into the city, spread it via a sewer system. If the virus got into the water supply, it could be a count of speed and spread of infection, he concluded after a moment of thought. Of course, Alana gasped, her rising emotions making the cups, whatever else was on the table, rattle more. And if it spreads further, not just the city, but... She felt Wesker's hand come down on her shoulder and gently grip it. Focus, Alana. Keep your emotions under control. I doubt that the rest of the state would be in too much danger. Rats don't live long enough to travel far enough. Raccoon is fairly distant from other cities in the Midwest. And if the situation really gets out of hand, the government will be forced to take notice. Taking several calming breaths, she felt her powers get back under control and all the items on the table stopped moving. You're right. I'm sorry, Wesker. With so much happening and Umbrella having to face a lot of people with their back pocket, as you say, it'll be hard to get back at them. I hope you have something to set up. Relax. This tragedy actually works with our favor. He felt Alana twitch and gasp in surprise. That will elaborate when she got something to say. When the news of this attack got out, combined with the release of the evidence I acquired from the data drives, Umbrella is finished. She smiled a bit, feeling confident oozing from her stepfather. She was always so sure of himself, and that was an anchor. If Wesker had a plan, she wouldn't have to worry about it much. She also had the knowledge for her real parents being alive, after being lied to about their deaths, and the fact that they were two sailor soldiers, and all sweeter. She was going to make sure that Spencer learned that he made a huge mistake in keeping her alive. Hell, keeping any of them alive. Back with Ida, she had been forced to abandon the vehicle which she had commandeered outside the city, due to being a heavy build-up of previously abandoned vehicles leading into Raccoon at Heart. On foot heading for the RPD, she quickly learned that Wesker hadn't been bluffing about sending her to hell. There were infected everywhere. From her perspective, it seemed like the entire city had fallen to the victims of the T-virus outbreak. Thankfully her stars weren't airborne. I see her. In the city. She had to leave the car, Alana observed. She is heading towards the station. But it's bad. The whole city. It's like something out of the deep nightmares. It's something worse than we thought. She had projected our possible scenarios and outcomes, but there is a new data foresaw on the level of destruction. Our calculations were way off. Wesker grimaced angrily at the out of sight. With all this occurred, all because of one old man's desire to reach higher into a station. Because one of the old man's greed. Alana visibly flinched as she heard the slam fist into the wall, a growl escaping his lips. Wesker? She looked back in his direction, and she almost recoiled with his flaring aura, showing his raging motions. It looked like he was on fire, but surrounded by a neon blue and black cloak of magic. That son of a bitch. He couldn't possibly understand what he's done. And if he does, I know he doesn't care. He snarled under his breath. It's just the same as always was, even when I was under his thumb. His focus was never on the progress. On results, he didn't care how he gotten them. He'd always said that the ends justify what it means. But nothing would justify this. Albert, what's the matter, dear? Coming from the direction of the guest bedroom came out Olisenia, draped in one of her shawls as her bare feet crossed the second floor, landing gently made her way down the stairs. I felt your magic pulsating wildly. He hesitated to reply, unsure of what to say that wouldn't alarm her. You would not want to see what I see right now. The jewel of American Midwest, reduced to a crumbling ruin. A husk of what it was, loomed over by the shadows of Umbrella. Let me see. Osina would walk over to the young girl and placed a hand on her shoulder, closing her eyes and connected to her mind. Immediately the grisly sight of her eyes as she gasped, a hand flying into her mouth, She felt sick to her stomach as different sounds and sights bombarded her. The howls of the undead, the screams of those who were caught in the middle of it, and the roaring of fires afterwards. The blood-caked pavement and buildings, the flying bullets of those still fighting for their lives. Oh no, but you destroyed the mansion. That could have stopped it. But how? She cried as she wrenched her hand away, hugging herself in an attempt to seize the trembling now racking her body. My sabotage was just that. I failed to slow them down. Instead of stopping the spread, as I hoped, I merely postponed it. It seems like Raccoon's fate was inevitable, Wesker sighed. No, then the vision Pluto saw. Osina shook her head, hoping and praying that it would not come to pass, but seeing this recognition in her son's eyes, as she slumped her shoulders of the adoptive granddaughter. She could deny it for long, but Wesker came over and gathered her in his arms. May not have come fast to pass yet. Remember, the visions of Pluto sees are not absolute. She cannot predict 100% accuracy what happens. The future we saw is but one of many of those city now faces. To lose hope, that would now be counterproductive. This nightmare has only just begun. He consoled her. I hope you're right, Albert. I really hope you are right, Osina sighed as she fought to keep herself calmed down. Wesker, Grandma Osina, she made it to the station. I could see the gates, Alana suddenly blurted out, regaining her attention back towards the matter at hand. But Ida didn't take the front door. Not that she would if she wanted to, but as she would have been barricaded from the inside. She did not know this, or nor she would say. She instead took a detour towards the parking garage by swinging around the inside of the building. It was oddly quiet in the station's perimeter, which made her uneasy. I hate the silence. At least I can hear them. I know what's coming, and if I can't hear them, there may have been something worse than zombies out there, she muttered to herself. Back inside the station, Claire was now on the second floor, having to enter the locker room connected to the men's showers. She found herself faced by a steamy issue, a broken steam pipe blocking the way. She could shut it off, but the valve handle was missing. Fuck, who's the idiot that took the damn valve? I hate valve puzzles. Hopefully there was a valve in here somewhere. There would be a good place to start looking? Asked Ray. How the hell would I know? Whatever I visited, Chief Irons wouldn't let me anywhere, except for the main hall. Fat prick, or what Chris always says. I haven't met him, but he sounds like an asshole. Well, I hope we don't run into him. From now on, how your brothers describes, the guy looks like him really burns me up, Ray growled. Was that a fire pun? Ugh, Frost was bad enough, Claire moaned, rolling her eyes. With nothing more to do, she left the locker and proceeded up the third floor, dodging the zombie that rapidly decided to fall over the banister and down to the floor with a sickening thud. Really, idiot? Ray was heard laughing in her head. Stupid zombie, she gawked. Saves us the trouble. You know, that fire pun reminded me of the time Frost put laxatives in Chief's coffee, Claire giggled to herself, visualizing the moment at her head as she cautiously made her way through the broken wall. Ray was silent for a moment before she burst out laughing again, as she ends up getting in trouble. I'm guessing that's hilarious. That sounds like something Usagi would do, Paul. Claire paused for a moment and a name came overhead. Usagi? Why does that name sound familiar? Alright, Usagi used to be the leader of our group many years ago. Although she was a diz and a crybaby at times, she was also very loyal to her friends. Here, Ray's tone took a bit more of a fond, almost reminiscent one. It didn't matter what she was feeling at the moment or what she was going on in her life. If someone needed her or we needed her each other to vent, she was there for us. She was always there, through and through. We've had our fights at times, her and I, but we cared so much for each other. We had each other's backs. Claire was about to drop her own bombshell. Tosingo Yasaki Tosingo. Is that who you're talking about, isn't it? You're Ray Hino, aren't you? Ray gasped at this. She figured out. But how? How could you know? I barely said anything about me, Usagi, or anyone else. Claire smirked smugly. I watched a show when I was in college. There was something on us. Why am I not surprised? Let me guess. They exaggerated a lot of things, like most people do, huh? How could you know? You haven't exactly made yourself clear if the Japanese anime wrote this based on fact, though I suppose you would have to see it first. She shrugged in response. Wow, I am surprised that you found some leads on us. Our story isn't really meant on the one history books or something like that. But yeah, you're right. My name is Ray. Then Claire shocked her again. Actually, I don't need to have my name dropped in the show to figure out you were... What? What do you mean? You were bluffing? Who, me? A Redfield? Bluffing? Please say I play video games in my spare time. You really want to know? Pyromancy dead giveaway? So I guess you would make the connections as to who I really am. Of course, you're Sailor Mars. Supposedly you died a long time ago, but yet your spirit still wanders the earth, looking for someone to worthy take your mantle, and that Sailor soldiers might rise again, like Phoenix from the ashes of death and rebirth. Oh wait, that's Saturn's job. Claire would feel Ray stiffen in her mind. Yeah, like her. She giggled. Really? But what's your reaction, girl? You need to get with the times. Welcome to the digital age. Anything and everything that could be found on the computer these days. I know, but I'm just thinking about Saturn and what she had said years ago. It still gives me nightmares to this day. Claire's smirk vanished upon hearing this piece of info. Wait, so you're telling me that part of the show when Hotaru destroyed the Earth? Are you saying that actually happened? Are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? You people destroyed the planet? We tried to stop the darkness from consuming it, but Saturn awoke first and she saw what was going on. We tried to plead with her not to swing the silence galv, but it was already too late. She swung and then nothing. Ray quivered, and all we could do was watch. And that was the only thing that could have stopped her was Susina Mel or Sailor Pluto. But she was already dead, Claire recalled. She felt Ray nod and sadness filled her mind. I know it's a shock, but trust me when I say this. We tried to stop it from becoming destroyed, but Sailor Moon came through afterwards and brought everything back with the power of Silver's crystal. What a relief. That makes it all better, huh? Claire insulted. And Hotaru, if you're here, then she's out there too. What if she awakens? What if she sees this and we all decide we're not worthy? What's to stop her from deciding we're too due for a second chance? That's what I'm hoping to keep from happening. That's why I'm free. Moon's presence is here, and I'm hoping we could find her first before Hotaru finds their host, and I hate to be the person that bonds with her. Wait, Yusaki's here? In Raccoon? Claire was dumbfounded. That could not be a coincidence. Both light and darkness in the same place together. I know her signature anywhere. It's definitely Meatball Head, Ray nodded, snickering out of her old nickname that she gave to her 30 years ago. Shouldn't you be more concerned about finding Pluto? Yusaki cannot be alone to stop Hotaru. Only Susina's time magic has that power. But Usagi is our leader. Even Hotaru has to listen to her. The thing is, after the world is saved, Hotaru was reborn as a baby and raised by the three outer soldiers, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. And after being an experiment by her father, they felt like it was right to give her a second chance. The life that she didn't get to have. When she became Saturn again, none of the darkness that lingered in her heart was there anymore. I call bullshit. If Hotaru reawakens Mistress Nine, there ain't a force on that planet that would stop her. And there would be ain't any person for her to listen to. I also can't believe you delegate this Sasana to the outer ring. The time magic is not a joke. It's literally the most powerful thing I could think of. Just because they are on the outer soldiers, that doesn't mean they're weak. The outer soldiers were the princess's elite guards, were defended by the kingdom from the attacks. Beyond the boundaries, the inner soldiers like me were the last line of defense. You guys can guess how that turned out against Queen Berry when she attacked. Princess Serena, aka Yusaki, and yeah, I know what happened. She kicked seven colors of shit out of you and would have killed you if it had not been sent to Earth by Queen Serenity. Ray nodded at that. We will speak more about this later, Claire. We need to find Leon and get out of the city. Hopefully we could find some more survivors, other than Marvin. Speaking of which, when was the last time you radioed him? I don't have his frequency. Claire sheepishly rubbed her ponytail in embarrassment. I'll worry about him later. I don't want to think he appreciate me on checking up on him. Oh hey, here's a key. It's the shape of a spade to it, like a playing card. That's weird. That could be useful. Hold on to it. Maybe we'll find a door that has a symbol on it. I spotted a couple of them before I found you, Ray said. Claire, it's Marvin. How fast can you get back here? Claire grabbed her radio and turned it on as she had his channel active. Well, I'm up on the 3rd floor right now. I think I'm near the library. Hey, what's up? I've got something to show you. It's important, he replied simply. There were clearly signs of strain in his voice, and he sounded pained, probably from his festering wound. Claire nodded, although she wasn't physically near him. All right, I'll be there. I really hope he's all right. Let's get down there quick, Ray said, with a sense of urgency in her voice. Claire followed the corridor around the building, spotting something climbing past a window into the hall. She paused, listening for it in case it came back, but she heard nothing. I don't want to know what it was, she muttered as she passed by through a door, what looked like some kind of storage room. There were stacks of junk scattered around, but also some kind of, well, she wasn't sure what it was. It kind of looked like crap. A lot of it. What the hell is this? I don't even want to touch it. There was another door in the nearby wall, and what looked like a makeshift cell door at the back of the room. There were a bunch of corpses inside, and a statue with the emblem set to it. The back of her mind giggled, and she remembered that she needed the emblems. Marvin mentioned that Elliot had said that could open an exit, but the cell was sealed. Someone had stuck a C4 to it, but the detonator was missing. Aw, shit. I need to find another way to blow this up. Yeah, I can help you with that if you want. Ray smirked a bit, as Claire felt her hands begin to heat up. She looked down at them, and they were gently glowing warm orange. Whoa, this is your magic? I feel warm. Go with your gut. Don't think. Give it a try. Okay. Claire closed her eyes for a moment and thought about throwing a fireball at the C4. It sounded ridiculous as a notion at first, but a deep feeling in her told her it was right. She then opened her eyes and saw a glow to them, as if she'd been possessed. Mars fire, ignite! The fireball, the size of a small beach ball, launched from her hand and detonated the C4. Blowing up opened the barricade blocking the cell and creating a small quake that reverberated through the walls. Before Claire had time to register what she had done, a loud shriek reached her ears from somewhere above her. She heard frantic scratching sounds as something rapidly approached them from the ceiling. Uh-oh, sounds like we just kicked the hornet's nest. Fuck. Through the hole in the ceiling behind the cell entrance, a disgusting-looking creature dropped down. Its entire muscle mass was exposed as if it had no skin, an exposed brain that wrapped around its non-existent eyes, long signature claws instead of hands, shockingly long, lance-like tongue. It hissed and walked down towards her. Claire froze on the spot, unable to move from the fear, which had turned out to be ironically a good move. It can't see us, Claire. Keep still for a moment. She didn't need to be told twice. The creature appeared confused and heard something loud, but now it heard nothing. Unable to see it, it rallied upon seeing the senses, and in particular its hearing. Slowly it crawled around, sensing out for her, scratching the floor distinctively as it moved. If it can manage to sneak around without any making a second sound, I might be able to avoid it, she thought to herself, knowing that before she could leave, she would need that emblem. Yeah, but you keep your magic ready in case if things go sideways. Once we get the emblem, let's make a beeline back to Marvin. Claire tiptoed towards the statue, careful not to make it too much loud sound, or she didn't know how sensitive the creature's hearing was. Upon hearing the reaching the statue, she discovered it had 3 dials and images with them. Some kind of code, she assumed, but then she remembered how the notebook Elliot had given her had the drawing inside. She reached into her bag and pulled it out, but it became dismayed when she realized the page had the code for the particular statue had been ripped out. Damn it, now I have to guess. You got this. You got this in the back of your case in case if it sneaks up behind you. Or you want to skip it for now until we find the page. It's gotta be back here where we found Elliot. No, we're here now. We might as well try to figure out. It's only 3 dials. There can't be that many combinations. This would take me more than a minute, Claire said, confidently, though she was secretly terrified that the creature might be near about flipping dials. After several seconds, intense silence was broken by only a faint sound of the dials. She managed to find the right combination. On a seal of emblem, shifted and opened, unlocking it. However, the grinding stone was loud, and... Fuck! Here they come! Let's get out of there! Claire quickly grabbed the emblem and rushed out of the cell, narrowing, dodging the flying stash of the creature hunting her. Its claw barely missed her face and just got out of the way. She made for the door, but a corpse hanging from the ceiling fell out and struck the bookcase, knocking it over and blocking the door. She immediately switched and ran for the door she came from, shoving it open and slamming it right on the face of the clawed monster as it lunged for her again. It screeched at her from behind the door, but it did not attempt to break through. That was a bit close for my liking. Are you alright, partner? Ray panted as she called off her magic for now. I think so. I don't think it caught me. Am I bleeding? She checked herself over but found no injuries. She did have a hole in her biker shorts where it scratched her, but it hadn't drawn blood. Guess we're going back the way we came. I recall there being a door to the main hall through the west office, and I have the key for it now. Alright, let's check it out. But first, we need to check Marvin. It sounded pretty important, whatever he has to show us. Well, duh, he's in the main hall, idiot. Claire snickered, mildly insulting Ray's apparent forgetfulness. She then shook her head and retracted to her step up staircase on the back of the floor of the dark room. She remembered the shuffles that were still down there. She would have to get past by them first. Fortunately, she found some loose ammo where she explored, so she wouldn't need to waste Ray's fire. Ray, meanwhile, was happy that she had found a partner at last. She had believed that she wouldn't be able to find anyone capable of handling her powers, as her time spent at Raccoon up to meeting Claire had been full of morally corrupt humans who had cared nothing but for their fellow humans. But it seemed that the magic had already flowed within the girl's veins, and from what she was able to glean from her mind, her family was connected to the magic through her ancestors, so it made bonding her a bit more easier to manage. Ray also learned that Claire was only vaguely aware of her connection with the magical past. So from what I could sense about you, you've already been exposed to magic somewhat. Magic must run pretty deep in your family. A few months ago, I was with my brother when we met our ancestor in the old vault of our grandfather built beneath our ancestral home in the mountains. Her spirit appeared to us and revealed some of our family's history, but it turns out my mother was a witch, and my brother and I were descendants of the ancient queen of magic. Whoa, that's pretty cool. What was your ancestor's name? Ray asked, now even more interested in this new partner. If I recall correctly, she was the Redfield of Marach, with the first of our family. She was alive, and her subjects were as Shyla, the hero queen. She was the last queen of the Abelian, before the kingdom separated. Our ancestral home was built on the former site of Castle Bowerstone, where Shyla ruled. Bowerstone was the capital city of Abelian, known to today as Raccoon. I thought that name was familiar. Queen Century had told us that there was a powerful queen on Earth where talks of alliance between our two kingdoms, but mind negotiations. Barlow attacked and we didn't get a chance to finish. That's good to know, although Sheila's descendants are alive and kicking. But is she herself still alive? It wouldn't have mattered anyway. Sheila was attacked from the crawler, a building and almost destroyed. She defeated it and survived, but it was a great loss of her subjects. No, Sheila died a long time ago. Her spirit still remains, as far as I'm aware. She does not have a living vessel. Oh well, at least she died as the hero she was. I just wish I got to see her at least once, Ray would sigh. Claire, however, was unaware that Sheila was very much alive, already in the city somewhere else. For all she knew, she might end up running into her at some point. Having enough chatting, Claire returned to her task in mind and made her way to the West office, blasting away at the zombies with her revolver. Inside the office was a trashed and what looked like books and papers were everywhere. Carefully making her way around the room, she had entered the private office and eyed on the safe. But that looks like it might have something nice in it. But we don't have any code for it. We'll have to look for it and come back when we have it. Ugh. Why does everything have to be so complicated? So, ignoring it for now, Claire went back to the main office and picked up a report from one of the officers on the desk. It detailed an account of the creature that seemed exactly like what she had met. Based on the report's description, it labeled the creature as something as officers called a licker, on the account of its tongue. So that's why that ugly thing was. And we all know how to avoid it if we happen to see one. Without eyes, it has to rely on its hearing. Seems easy to fool if we play it right. But there is one, there will probably be more. I don't think sneaking would suffice against a horde, Claire replied, putting her down a report, seeing what else of interest, and headed for the door with the spade symbol carved into it. Before she reached it, she spotted a desk from the corner of her eye with Leon's name on it, so this is where he would have worked. The desk was padlocked on both sides, and there was a note stating that the officers had gotten him a gift as a welcome addition to the team. Also on the note was a message written in blood. Be glad you aren't here, rookie. Something told her that the message had been written by Marvin. Poor guy. I can't imagine what it was like to be initially startled. Ray sighed as she read the note. Apparently we can open the locks by putting the officers' initials in as codes, but some of the desk labels are presumably not what they should be. Also, I'm not really sure if I feel like I would be robbing Leon. Then let's leave it for him. Whatever's in there, she'll be able to make it back to the office. Alright, let's get it back to Marvin. She then left the desk alone and went to the door, which she unlocked and opened. Ah, there you are. Come over here. You should be taking a look at this. Marvin then called her over, spotting her from the sofa he was sitting on. He showed her the computer, which had the camera feed from outside. Leon was standing at the back of the gate, apparently looking for a way through. Yay, he made it! I'm so glad he's alive, Claire exclaimed happily, smiling widely. You know him? Marvin asked painfully said. Yeah, his name's Leon. We came to the city together, but we got separated. We agreed to meet here, she replied. Ah, the rookie. Thought he looked familiar. Listen, you can get to the courtyard through the second floor offices. Over there, he gestured to the door, upon the upper floor behind him. Thanks, Marvin. I'll check it out.
What's up, my pretties? It's the Lion Queen here. I want to appreciate you all for tuning into this video. And I do appreciate you guys supporting my video by giving this video likes and stuff. If you really enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like, comment and subscribe if you're new, ring the bell for notifications to when I upload so that way you guys will get updated for whenever I upload. If you want to follow me on Twitter or DeviantArt, feel free to leave a follow on those if you are interested in following me on those socials. If you want to support my backup channel, known as Miss Dark Shigo, feel free to subscribe to it, as a link to that will also be in the About page section. And with that being said, and that being the case, thank you so much for watching, my pretties, and as always, please, stay pretty.